Hello and welcome! Today we're in the Japanese super battleship, the Satsuma. And this thing is one of the best long-range snipers in the game, if not the best. Basically, everybody plays battleships almost as though they were in the Satsuma, even when they aren't. By the way, I've been streaming on Twitch recently, and the reason why it's so good at long-range sniping is because it has 8 guns, and they have pretty good accuracy at long range. The shells are also pretty heavy, so they don't lose as much speed when going over long distances, and on top of that, she has a special skill that improves her accuracy for one shot. She also has a weakness that makes her more suited for long-range engagements, and that is her armor scheme looks more like Yamato's, meaning that at close range other battleships can punish her pretty heavily. Therefore, long range is definitely preferred. The enemy's super battleship is the Hanova. That's a secondary focused battleship. So the plan when fighting that Hanova is to not get in her secondary range, because in that case I would be at a disadvantage, whereas being at long range I am at an advantage. Also, my friendly cruisers here had a bit of a fight around me. So the focus for me here is not necessarily the sea cap, but rather I just want to be somewhere and give my teammates some support, because I can fire basically across the map. You can see where my range ends, and I do have a scout plane. So if I see a good shot, even if it's across the map, I can always just take it. And just being here is an intimidation factor. Add a Yamato, a Salem, an Elbing. We might actually be able to contest sea, but that's not my focus here. If I can just take good shots, that's I think the primary focus of it. Also, if they shoot in return for me, that means they're not shooting somebody else. At long range, Satsuma is pretty good at taking damage, or not at least getting citadeled compared to being close range. So it's not necessarily a bad thing. Wow, I think that Yamato is doing about the same thing I am. However, I don't like standing still because the turret traverse is too slow. So I like what he's doing, or at least that's what I'm trying to do too, but I want to keep moving so that I can turn my ship to turn my turrets faster. Now I'm using this special ability. It's active for basically one shot, and it improves dispersion pretty greatly. As you could see, we landed all 8 shells on the Hanova. It's a pretty good skill, but you do have to actually aim and hit the target. It's a little bit wasteful at this range, but I saw that the Hanova was showing some broadside, so I figured maybe I'll get a lucky shot in. The funny part about super battleships is that they actually don't feel that super, because they still inherently have the same limitations as battleships. They die to fire basically just as fast. They are vulnerable to getting hit for massive damage if they show broadside, and obviously they're pretty vulnerable to torpedoes as well, because, well, they're even bigger than normal, and torpedoes still deal a lot of damage. So ultimately, you play it pretty much like you do regular battleships. In fact, maybe you are even more passive than normal, because you know everybody will like to target you because of your big juicy health pool. On top of that, you're not exactly the most nimble of ships. Okay, what do we take a shot at? Oh, Jinan. Jinan looks good. By the way, on these super battleships, if you don't shoot at a target and land shells somewhere close to an enemy pretty regularly, the special ability actually slowly starts ticking down, so you do have to actually engage in combat pretty often. Wow, the rear turret just citadeled the Jinan from almost 20 kilometers. That's, yeah, that's the power of Satsuma. And we still did 10k to the Hanova. Hanova looks pretty dead though. He's broadside on, especially to me. He's gonna take a lot of damage from me, and he's also gonna get hit pretty hard by the Yamato. Maybe. But ultimately, I think the Hanova is gonna be out of the game very, very, very soon. You just don't survive as a ship as big as that for long, with that low HP. This is why it's very important to stay at range, and why the Hanofa is not necessarily that great. Even though it has overmatch capability on her guns, she has amazing secondaries, but because you get targeted so much, you can't really use secondaries in an easy way, because if you go in, you get targeted a lot. So, it seems that the fight on this side of the map is more or less over. We do have to contend with the Petropavlovsk, but I think we can handle one cruiser. I'll just start heading towards the C cap, or I mean B cap, because, well, the match is getting wrapped up at some point. We seem to be converging on a lot of ships at A, and that's, I think, where the enemy will make their last stand. The Petra is almost guaranteed to be dead. If that Yamato wishes to survive, he has to start running right now. Maybe reversing will get him far away enough that he will survive, but honestly, being in the way of the green team right now, it's probably gonna get them sunk. If I wasn't in a Satsuma, then perhaps Yamato would be alright, but since I am in a battleship that can hit pretty accurately from long range, well, Yamato's gonna have to suffer some damage. The CV tries something against me, but Hakuryu ain't gonna do nothing. Okay, he did deal 10,000 damage, but it's still not gonna matter ultimately. I have a lot of HP, I have a lot of heals. I'm just not a very good target. I have too much health to try to sink me, which also means that I'm not a good target, because you can't remove my guns from the game by actually attacking me quickly. There are probably much softer targets where you can actually remove their damage from our team by trying to sink them. Can you imagine this? I hit 5 shells from 21 kilometers to a bow-on ship, and I was pretty sure I was gonna get that too. This special ability improves dispersion even more, makes it feel extremely nice for sniping, but even close range, it's pretty good. I'm just gonna sail basically straight at him, have my guns pointed to the left until I still have targets, and then I'm gonna just probably have to turn the guns around, since I'm gonna come up around islands in like 10 kilometers. That will force me to turn the wrong way. Although if we have Yamato as a target, then perhaps it's fine if they keep everything pointed this way. But even without the special ability, we're gonna hit a lot of these shells. I mean, look at these groupings. Yeah, maybe not a lot. Well, 3 is still pretty decent. The groupings were good, they just missed the target. I guess we can't fire on the Alsace, instead it will still be Yamato. Come on, Yamato. You're still reversing. I think actually keeping reversing there was the correct choice. Because that doesn't... that means she doesn't open her broadside up at any point, and she can just keep luring enemies away from, well, the rest of his team, right? Like we can see our Elbing is heading straight for him. That probably means he isn't doing much to anybody else or threatening anybody else in this game. Because even if he does sink Yamato, he'll be too far to do anything to anybody else. Oh, come on, let's get a juicy broadside here. Henri is an excellent target. Trying to aim. We only get 1 salvo anyway, so I can take my sweet time aiming. Come on. Oh. Wait, what? I didn't get the kill? Oh man, that grouping looked amazing, but somehow somebody managed to kill secure between my shells arriving. But yeah, something like the Henri is pretty much the perfect target for this ship. Alsace is pretty close too, not as citadel-y, but she's gonna take a lot of penetrating hits. I mean, okay, if we actually hit the target. We didn't lead quite enough, but 2 shell hits, 10,000 damage. That's pretty damn good. Okay, Now, we're finally reaching the islands. I want to do one more salvo, then start turning my guns around while I turn my ship around too. So what I do, if you noticed, I turn my camera around, I press Ctrl X, this locks my guns to the other side of the ship, and then I can just look around while my guns are slowly turning. And now once I'm past the midpoint, I can just unlock them, and it'll just keep turning the turrets. Really like to. Oh, actually Alsace is... No, she's still sailing away. I thought she was turning in, but it was the sinking ship in front of her. Is that a broadside I see there, Conqueror? Hello, I would like to order some citadels. Thank you very much. This guy is also shooting me for no real effect, because I still have a heal. I am close enough that maybe it's possible for Conqueror to punish me with AP, if I show as much side as I'm showing. I only say maybe though, because I'm definitely not sure. Actually, Conqueror probably not. Other battleships could be. Yeah, 2600 damage. We do more with just our front turrets, okay, Conqueror? You ain't conquering anything today. And now it's time for the Alsace to go. She is on the grey line, so it will be a little trickier, but I'll just aim roughly center mass. I can't citadel from this angle anyway, so it doesn't really matter. Just gonna land as many shells as I can. I mean, 4 shell hits, 11k damage almost. Completely acceptable. And now it's a CV. And though Satsuma might be a super battleship, it might have very good penetration, it might be very, very strong, unfortunately it cannot penetrate through islands yet. Maybe in the future, maybe in the future. Which means that we will not be taking part in sinking that Hakuryu. It will be up to the destroyers to get some torpedo hits. Or maybe the Elbing goes in, Hakuryu's secondaries are like, goodbye. Never mind, we don't get that lucky. It could have happened though, but yeah. This was the more likely scenario. Shima, I think, got some torp hits, Elbing got the kill with guns. All is right in the world when a CV sinks. Sometimes. 213k damage. 2516 base XP, and remember, we were never at like a big risk of ever dying. We did tank for our team quite a bit, but we weren't really at risk. So anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I would like to thank the patrons on Patreon. Thank you very much for your continued support, and I hope I'll see you guys next time.